that is life. So what you've just said is very true. I wish I could forget completely we're here. Some of those things or days now, but anyway, that is life. So picture what you've just said is very true. I have a map of this place. We're here, fixed it somewhere in my mind. It can't go away. Now recollected, have the more so picture. What can't go away is what was happening in our country and what was facing us and we had to deal with. You know, I speak from my understanding. When you are faced with a situation like that was at the time, there are few things that come to your mind, and there are few choices. Either you face what it is, however difficult it is, and invest everything in you to deal with that, or you break down and run away. There is really nothing in between. Either you do something and or don't do it, and the consequences either way are very obvious. But at that time, sometimes it is not obvious. You only come to think about it later. So from the beginning, when the struggle started, we understood the magnitude, the weight we have to carry in doing what we are trying to do and achieving what we had in mind. We never underestimated, but it turned out to be even much bigger, much more complicated than anyone could have thought. But still, we were there, so you had to deal with it the way it happened. So what was it that was in the mind? You don't want to go too far ahead of yourself, because if you do that, you probably will make a mistake, because either you are thinking about defeat or thinking about victory, which has not happened. And if you thought of one, if you are sure you are going to succeed, it may be being a failure. Or if you think you have already failed, that means you're not going to try as much as you could have, and you may actually end up with a failure when it could have been different, when you could have succeeded if you tried everything you could. So here, this is the place, must have happened in 1992, I think around April maybe, if I remember, or towards that, because the RPA was involved in the fighting along the border, and we hadn't taken much of the territory inside Rwanda. We were really surviving along the border between Rwanda and Uganda, where some of us had come from. And so the RPF, meaning the chairman, the commissioners, were not part of the fighting force. Were staying in different parts. In fact, we had the headquarters in Brussels, Belgium, but we also had another in Kampala, Uganda. That's where it all started. And then sub-headquarters in different parts of the world. So when we took this place, we were able to bring the two closer together, or really together, the RPA and the RPF. And this became our headquarters after taking, because, you know, a little bit of history. When the war started, 1990, I was, before that, I was serving in the Ugandan army and so on and so forth. Most of us were, or a number of us. And when the war started, I was not anywhere near here. I was at CYOSE in Kansas, Fort Leavenworth. Yeah, but I had now to work my way back to be here with the rest. So when I came, I found chaos. Because the leader, the first leader of our struggle had been killed on the second day of the attack, Fred Rwigema. And so understandably, it was already a difficult situation. Then an organization loses a leader, and what follows is easier to understand. So when I came back in the first 2 weeks of October, I arrived back from the US and came and joined the others and tried to reorganize, and so that's when we reorganized and started fighting in a more organized manner, because of that I'm talking about that happened when we lost the leader who had led the struggle. So that's trying to cut things short so that it is not a too long story, but so that's all the way from then. That chaos came, 90 passed, 91, and then 92 we found ourselves here, and what I was just narrating happened. And it happened after we had taken places around here. In fact, that was specifically after attacking Byumba, Gicumbi. Now we are going to have a meeting. There were government forces of the time, and there were also forces deployed here in different parts. So we planned and moved from the east, because we were more towards Nyagatare and in between. We were trying to survive. So we organized and attacked a number of government enemy positions around, including the one here, which happened after actually taking Byumba, then Gicumbi and different other parts. We did by bypassing their positions and actually attacked them from the back. We went through the enemy deployments, cut through, and those who were here didn't know we had attacked Byumba then. And the others in a place called Rukomo and other places, Bungwe, and I don't know whether they still bear those names. I haven't followed over it, but so then we took this place because our positions were now far ahead, so this was more or less protected, and that's why we turned it. We had the headquarters. It was making it easy for us, because from here to the border, I think is about 30 kilometers, maybe, something like that. So we would operate going forward and spread wherever we needed to, but at the same time we had access to the border with Uganda, and that's how most of the time we used to get food and medical supplies and the things we needed. So it was easy, this position was easy to connect us with the world, but to connect us with the country, and enabled us to carry out the operations we had to carry out. So we grew from here quite fast, and yeah, so that is a number of things. It was coordinating from the east, but also the that north now is when we were in Virunga. So it was like this. So we are here and we used to coordinate. So what was in Arusha, and then it failed. And I remember in 1993, yeah, was it 93, February 8th, I think. The Arusha peace negotiations failed, and because the government had started killing people in Kibirira, or started killing Bagogwe in those areas, and we told them we can't be here talking peace and then they kill people again, so that means we are going to fight again. And the negotiations failed in 92. We stopped because of that, and they resumed fighting. In fact, that's when we took now a much bigger territory than we even had when we resumed fighting later on. Yeah, so